ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਇੱਕ ਸਤ ਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਵੀ ਸਚ।
ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। दोहरा सिख संगत रवपुरी के सकल दर्शन को आए, बैर दूर को केसवत इत आन पय समुदाय।
गुरु रूप गुरु प्यारे गुरु सवारी गुरु खालसा साध संगत जी, all of those that have joined here this evening, let us focus our attention on the divine swoop of Dhan Satguru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. From wherever our minds are at this moment, if we can rein them in and focus on Satguruji's divine swoop and join in Gur Fateh, recognizing that the Master Akal Purkh Vaheguru, we are sitting in their Hazuri. That way we get their blessings. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh Ji. So Guru Roop, Guru Pyari Swat Sad Sangat Ji. A few are probably wondering why we are starting on the Parsang as advertised of Dhan Satguru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji Shaheedi, when their Shaheedi is actually in the last week of May this year. To mention Satguru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj Ji Shaheedi for one day at the end of May or even the beginning of June, depending according to the Bikram calendar when it is a shortfall, I believe, on our Sikhs. It's not the respect that we should be showing. To say that Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji nu shaheed kita gaya because they were trying to convert Maharaj Ji to Islam is wrong. That's not what happened. The only way we can read why Satguru Maharaj Ji Shaheedi came about is if we listen to the Parsang. The Parsang is very long. Even though Das has taught that this Parsang can be heard in 5 weeks, whilst doing Tiyari in the last few days, I've realized it may take longer than that. However, with Samrat Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj's blessings, we should get this done within 5 weeks. The Parsang is long, and in the Parsang, we learn many things, not only why the Shaheedi came about, but many other things in regards to how to come to Sangat, why we come to Sangat, why we sit in Sangat, the Samratha, the almighty power of the Swarup of Satguru. Whether it is Guru Nanak Dev Ji or Guru Gobind Singh Sahib, any of the 10 Swarups, there is only one Jyot, and that Jyot is the Akali Narankari Jyot of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. The sooner we learn that and understand that and accept that, the sooner we will stop referring to Maharaj as just a human being or a revolutionist or whatever else we may attribute to Maharaj. Maharaj is the divine, supreme being in bodily form from Guru Nanak Dev Ji to Guru Gobind Singh Sahib. Out of the Dasai Pathshahiyan, in the first 4 Swarups, Guru Ki Sangat Ji, Maharaj gave the Upadesh, the teaching of Satnam Sri Vaheguru da Simran, Dharam di Kirt karna, Ishnan karna, and to live a truthful life. Basically, a life of bhakti. For me, the Swarup of Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj, now the Katha that we're going to hear is from Sri Guru Pratap Suraj. Now, Suraj we all know means sun. Like the Pratap, the power of the sun is unspeakable. Maharaj's Pratap is an infinite amount of times greater. But the reason why Bhai Santokh Singh Ji Kavi Mudamani names this Granth Guru Pratap Suraj Granth, just as the Suraj changes, actually it doesn't change, our perception of it changes. Suraj is one ras, putting out the same power throughout the entire year. But here on earth we experience winter, spring, summer, autumn, and many other things. It's our perception, it's the time we're passing through that we feel what we feel. Just as such, the Jyot, the being of Akal Purkh is one. Even though we are sitting here, very few of us have conditioned our minds to realize that the God, the Akal Purkh we're searching for, is in the form of Satguru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. However, that divine Jyot is one, is Ikras, always the same. But in the first 4 Swarups, they gave the Upadesh of Bhakti. In the 5th Swarup, for me, is the most pivotal moment. Why? When that Bhakti was in danger, no one could put Maharaj in danger, by the way, but when the Bhakti was in danger, Satguruji demonstrated to the Sikh Sangat that even if you need to give your life to preserve that Bhakti, then so be it. Lives are things that we're going to come through again and again and again. Unless we get on the mark of Bhakti, then there is no more Jamman Maran. So in the 5th Swarup of the Satguru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj, the Upadesh of Bhakti, the 4 Swarups now turns into the Upadesh of Shahadat. And Satguruji will demonstrate this themselves. So to apportion just one day in the week of Shaheedi is a short word by Sikhs. Now we will attempt to do Katha of Guru Pratap Suraj Granth, so we too can learn the Guru's way. We too can learn what happened, and we can also hear many of the gems and diamonds that are hidden there within. So Guru, Pyari Sadh Sangat Ji, if you lovingly focus your minds and take yourselves to Kotha Sahib at Amritsar Sahib, Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj at 1 o'clock in the morning have called the Mukhi Sikhs of Guru Kar, Baba Buddha Ji, Bhai Bidya Ji, Ityadak, Mata Ganga Ji. They called them to Kotha Sahib, and the question they asked Baba Buddha Ji and Bhai Gurdas Ji is our Sahibzada Har Gobind ready to take the weight of the Gurta Gadi? When Bhai Gurdas Ji hears this and Baba Buddha Ji, they know exactly what this means. that Maharaj is not going to give the Gurta Gaddi to Harpai, to Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. And in order for that to happen, well, once that has happened, Maharaj will not stay with us. Baba Buddha Ji asked Maharaj, what is this you are saying? Guru Arjan Dev Ji tells Baba Buddha Ji and Bhai Gurdas Ji that the Turks have their eyes on the Guru Kar, calling it a Kufran di Dukaan, a shop, an outfit of unbelievers. And a Kood da Prachar di Dukaan, a place where falsehood is taught. The Guru Kar, the Nanak Gaddi that gave them the Raj, they have now turned against that. We will not stay in this body any longer. We will smash the pot of this body upon the forehead of the Mughal Raj. And Chandu is also filling the ears of Jahangir and turning him against the Guru Kar day by day by day. ਇਹ ਸਰੀਰਕ ਭਾਂਡਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਸਿਰ ਤੇ ਭੰਨ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੱਚਖੰਡ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ and ਸਾਹਿਬਜ਼ਾਦਾ Hargobind will be our sixth Guru. Mataji tries to reason with Satguru. When Mataji gets into too much distress, Maharaj Satguru Ji ne ek nigah maar ke just in one glance removes all her moh and gives her that gyan where she accepts the hukum of Guru Sahib Ji. Maharaj leaves Sri Harmandir Sahib with Panj Sikh, Bhai Tarana, Bhai Langaha, Bhai Jetha, Bhai Peda and Baba Bidhi Chand Ji. These 5 Gursikhs, Mahan, Surveer Jodhe of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's car leave with Satguru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj. Maharaj arrived at Bhai Sadhu Ji's house. There's Diwan sampling at Bhai Sadhu Ji's house. Bhai Sadhu Ji is a Garib Sikh of Guru Ji Maharaj. Not Garib in the sense of money. Garib in the sense of he has not got the richness of corruption in his mind. Ek Garib Sikh ya Guru Karda, he's always and ever only wanted one thing. Raj na chahu, mukt na chahu, man preet, charan kamalare, hey Satguru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. I desire nothing else other than to place my head on your charan kamal in my house. And main thadi seva karan Satguru Ji. Guru Arjan Dev Ji, the fulfiller of everyone's desires, they arrive at Bhai Sadhu Ji's house. Bhai Sadhu Ji bade prem de naal, maryada de naal, prashada pyar kita and they provide prashada for Satguru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj and the Panj Sikhs. As the Sikh Sangat begin to hear, we Satguru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj have arrived at Bhai Sadhu Ji's house. This is where we pick up the Katha in more part from Guru Pratap Surajgarh. Guru ki Sangat Ji, Das is nothing but a Murak. Das places his head in your Charan Kamal. The Assis reading, which Sangat Har Prabhu Vasai Jiyo, that we are able to do the Katha. That is written in Guru Pratap Surajgarh. This Mahan Kavi, this Brahmagyanti Mahatma, Paisa Bhai Santokh Singh Ji Maharaj, who can do the Katha that they have written, they such a Vidwan that you can't find a Vidwan like them in our Sikh history. So Guru ki Sangat Ji aao, Guru Maharaj Ji pari karke, te Katha Maharaj Assis deke shuru karwan ji.
Sikh Sangat Labpuri ke Sakh Dars ko aaye, Bhair Dur ke Smit et Aan Pae Samalaye.
In Lahore and all the villages surrounding Lahore, as far as the word can reach, word has reached that Dhan Satguru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj is in Lavpuri. Lavpuri is the old name for Lahore Shahar. The Satguru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj have arrived from near and far. Sikh Sangatan, they have started coming and arriving in swathes. They come, they take darshan of Satguru Ji, they place their offerings in the Charan Kamal, in the lotus feet, the divine lotus feet of Dhan Satguru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj. And Hanji.
Satnam ki aurte bala ke janm janm ke kate kalesh.
Maharaj, the Hazuri, the Sikh Sangat are arriving there with the greatest destiny. Paisa writes, Bade Bhag, the greatest Bhag of these Gursikhs. Why? Sun Upadesh, they are listening to the Upadesh of Guru Sahib Ji. Guru Ki Sangat Ji, there's no difference whatsoever. Let's not think that udo koi hor time si to hun koi hor time hai. Not at all. That Dhan Satguru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj is Satguru Granth Sahib Ji. The only difference is there was a Saririk Swarup, a bodily form. Here there is the Granth Swarup. The Sikhs are listening to the Upadesh, sun again and again. Why? So Upadesh nu kama sakan, so they can earn, they can live by what Satguru Ji teaches. What is the Upadesh they listen to? The Upadesh is one of Gurmat, the Guru's way, the Guru's Siddhant. The Upadesh is of Satnam, meaning Simran. Simran, to do Simran as much as we can. Why? As is breathing for our body, so is Simran for our spirit. If we starve the spirit from Simran, this spirit will never become strong enough to not only navigate through this life in Kaljug, but in the hereafter as well. So, jo Upadesh hai Satnam ki ur live lag hai. The answer is that in your ur, in your heart, live only. Focus your attention on what? Satnam. What is Satnam? Vaheguru. Guru Ki Sangat Ji, we go to universities and we get degrees after spending 4 or 5 years. Only if we spend 4 or 5 minutes every day trying to learn the art of Vaheguru Gur Mantar and Mool Mantar, Ik Onkar to Lake, till Nanak Hosi Pi Sach. Once we've learned the art, via those art or live lag in our heart, focus our attention on that, and then Bhai Sahib Ji writes what happens? Janam janam ke kate kales. The reason for us taking birth again and again and again is something known, Guru Ki Sangat Ji, as Paralabad. Paralabad is our karam that is stored inside us. There is nothing that can remove that storage. Why? Akal Purkh the Vidata has placed those inside us himself according to our actions from our previous lives. But then if that cannot be removed, then how do we ever escape this chakra of karma? How do we ever escape this? Well, he can remove it. How does he remove it? His name. Vada Sahib Ucha Thao Uche Uppar Ucha Nao. His Naam. When we focus our attention on his Pavitra Naam, Vahe Kahal nahi karni. Vahe is just unbelievable, awesome, beyond description, beyond the grasp of the mind or speech. Go, the darkness of the illusion of the duality we're in, Ru, Prakash, the light of Gyan, which destroys that darkness and takes us to that Vahe Sarup. How difficult is that to remember? When we live lage into this, then Janam Janam ke kate kalesh, this conflict we have in our minds of our karma. For many Janams, Bhai Sahib Ji says, Janam Janam ke kate kalesh, they get destroyed and eradicated. Sukh atol ko paaye, Guru Ki Sangat Ji. Everyone wants sukh. Koi chaunda hai sukh of a house. Someone wants sukh of car. Someone wants sukh of peace, comfort, of a good job, of being prosperous in life. But koi maida laal, some Gurmukh pyara, Guru na prem karne wala wants the atol sukh. What is the atol sukh? Atmanand, Brahmanand, where Akal Purkh Vaheguru, they which live like them, where we focus our attention on Akal Purkh Vaheguru. We forget we are this body, and there we prapata Atmanand. Not Doldahe. And in the state of Atmanand, the mind does not wander here nor there. It stays in one place. No one sitting with Guru Arjan Dev Ji, where Bhai Santosh Singh ji is writing, ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਮਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਡੋਲ ਰਿਹਾ. No one saying I've been here for 15 minutes, half an hour. ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਗੋਡੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੁਖਦੇ, ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਲੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੁਖਦਾ, ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਢੂਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੁਖਦੀ. No one is in any discomfort. Why? Atam Anand ਦੀ ਅਵਸਥਾ ਨੂੰ. They reached the Atam Anand so easily. The Sikhs of that time, Guru Ki Sangat was not, they were not afflicted like we are with social media, with TV, with Jinnah Bakwas, Sara Hunasina is I think we're living through it. They're not afflicted by this. What they are very simple, living people, yet very intelligent. They live by Guruji's Upadesh, sitting by the divine Pratap, the powerful super of Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj. They've attained the avastha of Brahmanand, of Atmanand. Their minds are not wandering. No, none of them are saying, "Chal uth chaliye, my kids are at home, or my wife is waiting, my wife might get angry with me." Suddh ki na suddh rahi, buddh ki na buddh rahi, mat mein na mat hai, mat mein na man hai, kuch nahi reh gaya. All feeling of going anywhere has gone. And within their being, this is how they remain. Parsang Santosh Singh ji writes, Dhan Dhan Satguru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj. That despite being the bodily manifestation of a Kalpurukh Vaheguru, they haven't built themselves the most grandest of palaces. Yet they have. Harmandir Sahib, what palace could be more grand than that? They haven't adorned themselves with jewels, diamonds, crowns, yet they have. They've got the true jewels, the jewel of Nam. Bhakt ke bhes. In this pankti, ਇਹਦੇ ਦੋ ਅਰਥ ਬਣਨੇ. ਭਗਤ ਕੇ ਵੇਸ, they are the simple attire of bhakti, getting us to follow in that way. And Bhakt ke base bas rahe, with who? Aadhe Bhaktan de which they are living amongst their Bhagats, not in a hill some far away palace. The Sikhs are gathering in great numbers of Bhai Sadhu Ji's house. Guru Ki Sangat, when we hear this, let's try to make a movie of it in our heads and try to envisage it and try to live it. Babaniya kahaniya putta saputra karen. By doing it, by listening, trying to live the kahaniya of our babe, our elders. What it does, it changes our jivan from within. And we start to become like that. If I had not heard this, I would not know how the Sikh Sangat were behaving in Satguruji's presence and how Maharaj was doing kirpa on them of Atam Anand. Sikhan ko samudaya payo baho, Sat Sangat mil kare Anand. Again, Bhai Sahib Ji refers to Anand. Anand sabko kahe, Anand Guru te jane. Everyone reckons they've got Anand, someone of wealth, someone of the putter, someone of a great job, someone while eating food, someone while wearing designer kapde, someone while getting all the likes on Facebook and Instagram or wherever else there is to get likes on. But Anand nahi, jhutha Anand hai. Sacha Anand is in where? In the Sat Sangat, Bhai Sahib Ji writes. This is the Sat Sangat. This is the Sad Sangat. Sad Sangat is where we come to reform ourselves. Sadhana. It becomes a Sat Sangat when we are in the presence of the true embodiment form of Dhan Kalpurukh Vaheguru. So Sat Sangat mil kare Anand, meeting in the Sat Sangat, the Gursikhs Anand kar rahe han. One is coming, one is going from far away. So there are few there like me who have a very corrupt mind. They've come there, they've felt something they've never felt in their lives ever before. And that's that Atmananda, that peace. Who is there here that is not looking for peace? True peace. True peace never goes. The word true is forever, it's infinite, it's eternal. Who is there here that who doesn't want true peace? But these guys are feeling it, these Sikhs are feeling it. As they're feeling it, a few of them are thinking, Phirt Prabh Aya, Parya Tausar Nae. Hey Maharaj, Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj, through many countless life forms I've been wandering, and in many different directions. Now come to your Sharan, I felt something that I've never felt before. Now that I've felt this, their minds have also become conditioned that the kumatta, they want to destroy the corrupt mind which stops us from embarking on the path of bhakti. Whilst we're sitting here, Guru ki sangat mein maaf karna, I ask for forgiveness. This is not to anyone here. But whilst sitting here, my mind is saying, chalo utth chaliye, aur kite chaliye. It's not our bhakti conditioned mind, it's our worldly conditioned mind. The one whose presence we're sitting in, this is the one that runs the entire complete universe, whether we accept this or not. Then what are our lives? They can run our lives too. So sitting there, they've made their mind up that we want to destroy the corrupt mind that has stopped us in progressing on the path of bhakti. And while sitting here, if there is anyone here like me who needs help on the path of bhakti, there is no greater time than now. Whilst listening to Katha, to do Benti to Satguru, hey Maharaj, we've come to your church as well as like these six said. Sadivi, whatever there is in our mind that is stopping us from doing bhakti, give us what we need to overcome that. Gair Babi Badi Raat. The Rababi is the Kirtani are doing Kirtan till late at night, meaning Asadivar. Sune Sikh are Prem, and what are the Sikhs doing? The Rababis are doing Kirtan, the Sikhs with Prem. They are listening to the Sri Gurbani. Whether they understand it or not, those that know Arth, Tan hai unna de bhag, their great is their destiny. Those that do not know the Arth of Sri Gurbani never feel that we menu eda kuch milna hai, why do I need to stay here? No. Sri Gurbani is going to go in that place deep within your beings, Guru Ki Sangat Ji, deep within our beings, where every single word is understood. And what he's going to do on the way is clear up our jivan. That's the whole point of sitting in Katha and Kirtan day by day. Bani Pate. The Bani that is being spoken, Kant ko Tare. Look at the Guru Ki Sangat, you have to keep on saying this again and again. There is no difference between that time and today's day. The only difference is we willingly apportion our time. We give our time to other things, but we never ask Guru Maharaj to let us have some time while praying in our Bani Padiye. If we do that, Bani Pate, Kant ko Tare, it becomes Kant. In 52 Hukam, 52 Hukams of Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj, the third Hukam is we Bani Kant Karni, listen to Bani from Gursikhs, learn how to read it, and Kant Karni. Stonani, bit by bit. The houses we live in, this building, the Gurdwara we're sitting in, it didn't fall out the sky like this, it was built brick by brick by brick. The houses we live in were built brick by brick by brick, and then they become a home for us to live in. If we learn Sri Gurbani Ji, Pankti by Pankti, if Pankti means sentence, even if sentence is too much, word by word, within a year you have learned so much, that then becomes the home that we begin to reside in. So, Guru Ki Sangat Ji, up until now, Parsang Singh Ji has given us a glimpse into what's happening at Pai Sadhu Ji's house. Now, it remains like that for a few days, and then one day, Satgur Chadkar Khase. Khase is a palki. It's a type of palki. Satgur Ji Maharaj gets in their palki. Sikh Sangta is saying, Maharaj, we want to take a walk with Aapji along the river Ravi. Maharaj listened to the Sikh Sangat, climb aboard their palki, Sikh sevaks are carrying that palki, and there's a great, huge crowd of people around Maharaj. From here starts the Parsang, more to do with Maharaj Shaheedi. In the opposite direction, along the river Ravi, is coming this Nindak Chandu. Chandu is the first minister, Guru Ki Sangat Ji, of Jahangir in Lahore. He plays a great role in Delhi as well. So amongst the ministers of Jahangir Badshah, the emperor, Chandu is one of the prime ministers. And in the opposite direction, he is traveling. He is on his horse, he has a servant with him. Hanji. So, what does he see? Dekhi. He sees a great gathering of people. That his way is blocked, he can't get through. Bhujan Kara, Kaun hai Gamat. He's thinking to himself, who is this? Who is this out wandering in Lahore? Around countless people, who could this be? Because when this fool goes out, Guru Ki Sangat Ji, other than the people that fear him, and other than the people that may want him to do something for them, nobody truly shows him any respect. Out of fear, anyone can bow to you, it's not true respect. So, he's thinking, who is this person that such a large crowd is gathered around? Kamdar, Umarav, Amir. Is this a Kamdar? Is this someone who's a great Shah, a great trader? Umarav, is he a Suba, a governor? Amir, is he a Tanor, an extremely wealthy person? Who is this person that so many people have gathered around? Around this, who is this person that countless people, because he can't count them. He's sitting on his horse, he can see the crowd, but who knows how far the crowd goes back. In front, to the sides, to the rear, there is such a large crowd. Badshah ko hoye samiti. Is this someone who's smiti, close to the Badshah, to Jahangir? Surely it must be, otherwise why would all these people be gathering around him? Or is it one of Jahangir's personal servants? To be the personal servant of a king whose rule is in 2,200 kilometer linear. I'm not going to the sides. Linear 2,200 kilometers. To be that emperor, the Mughal Raj Guru Ki Sangat Ji was one of the most wealthiest, if not the most wealthiest empires ever. To be the personal servant is a great status in itself. But if it was him, he would have come over here. Surely he would have done Salam Alaikum to me. And he would have come and paid his respects to me. So what he does, he sends his Nukar, his servant. He goes, go run over there and find out who this is. He's on his horse with his servant. No one's paying any attention to him. And up ahead there's a huge crowd. So he said, go and find out who this person is. This Nukar runs over to a Gursik and asks, who is this that so many Nar people are walking along the river Ravi with? Tan Guru ka Sikh. Adore, no fear, full of prayer he speaks. He says, Tan Satguru Arjan Dev Ji, the most merciful. That's who it is. So this Nukar comes back to Chandu and says to Chandu, this is the fifth Malak of Nanak Gaddi Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj. Soon as Chandu hears this, Guru Ki Sangat Ji, there are many kinds of fire. There's a fire, there's a blaze that sets ablaze inside him. Ekdam, he becomes so krodhat, so angry, thinking, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, who I've been after so long, he's in my puri, in Lahore, in my city, in my nagar. What's he doing here? What's being tormented on the inside? Bada dukhi ho raha. He's saying, Mamre fire dikhaye pratapu. Guru ki sangat ji, what pratap, what power is Satguru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj no show. Maharaj in a palki Sahib being carried by Gursikhs with prem along the river Daryavi. Maharaj is not demonstrating any power. जब खुद करक करे करतारा प्रजा तरत तब देह अपारा जब आ करक करत हो कबहू तुम मैं मिलत देह तर सब हूँ. In Sri Chowki Sahib Maharaj says that when Thakur Vaheguru wishes, from nothing he sprouts, creates all of creation. When he gets tired of playing, he pulls it all back inside to himself. That is the power, the avastha of Satguru. Maharaj, what power is Maharaj showing? But this foolish mind, Chandu, he's saying, Mama Repafire Dikhai Pratap. He's thinking to himself that my enemy, Guru Maharaj is Nirvair. Maharaj has no enemies. Maharaj has never done any enmity with this Chandu. In his mind, he's thinking that my enemy is here showing off his power. And he's doing this whilst he's got a large crowd of people gathered around him. चलो एक पंक्ति दो बार कर दो अद्धी अद्धी करके पहले मैं पढ़ूंगा. मैं नित चिंता के बस दुर्बल. He's thinking to himself that every single day I am becoming weaker and weaker, being tormented through worry. So worry, Guru ki sandi. Chinta, Punjabi is a beautiful language. Chinta means worry, but Chinta is also torment. He's been tormented every single day. Why? Because he had sent his Prohit, Guru, his own Prohit, the holy man of his house, to find a suitor for his daughter. He wanted to marry his daughter off, and he put many conditions in place. Those conditions were only met in the house of Guru Nanak Dev Ji when the Prohit went and laid his eyes on Tan Satguru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj. The Prohit saw someone from an extremely wealthy background. Maharaj has all the wealth of the universe. Someone who's tall and extremely handsome. Who could be more tall and handsome than Tan Satguru Hargobind Sahib Ji? The other condition was a family whose name is Roshan like the sun in the skies. Whose name could be greater Roshan than the name of Nanak? The Prohit took this, done the rista there and then pyar deta, went back and told Chandu. Chandu, we will hear what he said later on, said very wrong things. Maharaj declined the rista at the request of the 600 of Delhi. Now he is sitting here. Main nit chinta ke bas durbal. The chinta is this, that me, the first minister of Jahangir, I've been rejected by this house of keys. That's how he thinks. He's a fool. He may be the first minister. You can be the prime minister, you can be the king, but you can still be a fool. This fool is thinking that look at my status. I can do whatever I want to throughout this Raj. And they rejected me. The rejection is killing him, literally, in front of his family, his friends, and anybody else that he knows. So he says, Main chinta ke bas durbal. Durbal with that, I'm getting weaker and weaker by the day. As you all know, when we get stressed, we do become weaker. And his stress, only he knows what his stress is. He says, yet, referring to Satguru Arjan Dev Ji, he hasn't got a care in the world, he's wandering around worry-free. Guru ki Sangat ji, what worry can Guru Arjan Dev Ji have? Guru Arjan Dev Ji removes our worries. How can they have any worry? Tek Jeevan Man. Accursed is my life. Hanji. My intelligence. A curse upon my intelligence. That's what he's thinking. Hanji. He said, regardless of all the attempts I've done to apprehend Satguru Arjan Dev Ji, Guru Ki Sangat Ji, he sent Suli Khan and Salabi Khan, two generals of Jahangir's army, to apprehend Guru Maharaj. Tell me, who can grab the light? No one. Who could go and apprehend Guruji? They both died on the way there. Then after that, in the days of Jahangir, told many lies. Jahangir then sent guards to go and fetch Guru Arjan Dev Ji. Soon as the guards saw Tansat Guru Arjan Dev Ji, they bowed before Guru Arjan Dev Ji and they told Guru Arjan Dev Ji that at Chandu, he's filling the emperor's ears, they sent us. Maharaj said, you go back, we will come ourselves, we don't need to be taken. So whatever he has tried has been fruitless. Nothing has come to fruition. So, Ace Karan Guru Ki Sangat Ji, he's cursing himself. He's saying, accursed is my life, a curse on my buddhi, because whatever I've tried has not been fruitful so far. At once, without further ado, he kicks his horse and he rides off towards the palace. Hanji. He's thinking, today I will tell the king, oh king, the one that you fined 2 lakh rupiah for having welcomed your Shahzada Khusro, who you exiled from the roof, having kept him, you fined him 2 lakh rupiah. Did he not only return with the guards you sent? Not only has he not paid this 2 lakh rupiah, but he's now wandering around here carelessly and without a worry in the world. Guru Ki Sangat Ji, he's back around his Khatri. Salam de Kinanu Karda Turkan. He's gone before the Turks. This Mari Matwala goes there, sees Jahangir, and he says, Salam Alaikum. Bhai Sahib says on his face he's smiling. You can't tell. He's a very good actor. But inside, Adna Bachya Pya with anger. He just cannot wait until he gets his hands on Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj. So first of all, he starts off the conversation talking about affairs of whatever you talk about whilst being a king. Then he discusses other matters. And when he has the attention fully of Jahangir, then what he does? When he has the full attention of Jahangir, then he starts off this Parsang. He stands before Jahangir. Now that he's got his attention fully, puts his hands together, puts his head, and then says, he says, oh, you know that Peer, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, the Sikhana Peer, the one who you find 2 lakh, masala la gaya changi tarah Guru Ki Sangat Ji. He says, the one that you find 2 lakh rupiah, he's wandering around in Lahore, he doesn't care for paying you any money. He doesn't care for you. He's out for a walk, for a stroll around the river Ravi. But he still hasn't come to you. He's over here in where you are today, but he still hasn't come to see you. Rather than fearing you and coming to you and paying the 2 lakh rupiah, asking for maafi for keeping Khusro, instead he's sitting there and he's having his feet worshipped by these Hindus. So Guru Ki Sangat Ji says Hindan ke Peer. Hindan is the Hindvasis, the people that live in what was known then as Hindustan, effectively, right? So, Hindan ke Vasi, the people that live there, they're referred to as Hindus, but Sekhan ke Guru Maharaj de Karna de Seva Kardeya, not the Hindus, but Hindus are coming as well, and they are now becoming Sikh. ਇਹ ਦੁਆਰਾ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਦਿਓ ਜੀ।
ਨਿਤ ਪ੍ਰਤ ਤਨ ਅਨਗਨਤ ਆਮਦਨ।
And he's giving more masala. He said, look, he's seen Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj for all of 5 minutes. He said that every single day so many Sikhs are coming to meet Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and they're bringing in so much wealth and so much money. What a fool. They say, as is your drishti, so is the srishti. As is your observation, so becomes the world. He is an egotistical fool himself, and what he says, nit prat tan anganat amadan tani payo aur garb vadaye. He said, because this untold amount of wealth coming in day by day, this Sikh and the Peer has become so egotistical, he hasn't even come to see you. You know that 2 lakh rupees that you will find him with At once, Jahangir, we should collect this. And when we go to collect this, obviously his followers are going to know people in your administration, and they're going to send people to say, na lavo. This is what he's thinking. Maharaj ਦੇ ਸਿੱਖ 2 ਲੱਖ ਰੁਪਏ ਤਾਂ ਥੁੱਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਸਿਫਾਰਿਸ਼ ਭੇਜਣੀ ਸੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਕੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ। So he said that if anybody is sent to talk you out of administration, whether it's a minister, whether it's one of your subhas, don't listen to him. ਸਿਫਾਰਿਸ਼ ਨਾ ਸੁਣਿਓ, otherwise he won't stop keeping thieves. This is what he's calling the Gursikhs. Chandu, in his many attempts to get hold of Guru Maharaj, and in everything Guru Ki Sangat Ji he done to drive Jahangir against Maharaj, he named the Guru Ki Sikh Sangat thieves. He said those people in society who have nowhere else to go, they go to this Guru Arjan Dev. Sangat Ji ਗੱਲ ਦਾ ਸਹੀ ਹੈ. Us Sikhs have got nowhere else to go, because we don't want to go anywhere else other than the Charan Kamal of our Guru. He calls us thieves. Ye bhi gal sahi hai. We are thieves. Kabir loot le Ram naam ko loot. We steal. Aapa koi dunyavi cheez nahi chulaunde. Aapa chulaune Guru ke darshan te Hari ka naam, which Maharaj pandar apne ko chhad gaye. Maharaj kehte lutti jao. So he's been filling the ears of Jahangir. Number one, he won't keep taskar thieves, and dar finally daruga bhi. Oh, look what Badshah Salamat has done. He's taken 2 lakh rupees of me. And he said, then your desh, your country will come to no peace. Otherwise, they are tormented by his thieves. They are wreaking so much havoc. Go and send summons, Jahangir. Call him, demand him to present himself in your court. Otherwise, he'll take all the tan, the money, or whatever other offerings of the Sikhs, and he'll return to his Puri, Amritsar Sahib. You know your son who you would exile, kicked out of your Raj? This Guru Arjan, he's fearless of you, he doesn't fear you. He even kept your son despite you sending a hukam that whoever even gives the time of day to my Shehzada will be answerable directly to me. Jahangir had said this, okay? So he said the Shehzada, Khusro his name was, the one who you got rid of, he even gave himself passage and sanctuary at Harmandir Sahib. Payatadarak, give him the punishment that needs to be met in this avagya, in this disrespect. Sadh Sangat Ji, so Khusro is the son of Jahangir. Jahangir had kicked him out of his rule. And Jahangir sent a hukum across the entire Raj, saying whoever gives him time of day will be directly answerable to me, basically meaning to put to death. Now in these days, when Khusro nu desh nikala ditta gaya, Jahangir was out hunting on a hunting expedition. This Chandu was with him, and they'd gone far out on a many-day hunting expedition. One day while they were out hunting, some chores came. They cut the tent where Jahangir was staying. They broke it up, they took many valuable things. Amongst the valuable things they took something that's called a Janam Patri. Janam Patri is when people are born, they get an astrologer to consult the stars, and through that consultation, they are able to then tell the person not only things about their past, but how their future is going to be, how their wealth, how their status, and how at times bad times may befall them and how to navigate around them. And no more so than kings have these Janam Patriyan made. So Shah Jahan, I beg your pardon, Jahangir had a Janam Patri made which was very valuable to him. Diamonds and rubies have no value to someone who has untold diamonds and rubies. To him, what was of value was the Janam Patri, so much so, he took it everywhere where he went with him. He's out hunting, some chores came, ripped the tent and they took it. When Jahangir learnt of the chori, he didn't ask about anything else. He said, what about the Janam Patri? His God's telling us it's God. Chandu is an opportunist. He waits a day or two, he comes back and he says, hey Badshah Salamat, intelligence has it that the guys, the thieves who took your Janam Patri are none other than the Sikhs of Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Maharaj. So he's turned Jahangir from at every point he gets against Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Maharaj. And when Khusro nu desh nikala ditta, he then married the Janam Patri, and also he said, I've also learned something else. You, the son that you exiled, whose name I will not even mention, Guru Arjan Dev Ji kept him at Harmandir Sahib and also gave him money. Guru Ki Sangat Ji, this is the house of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Whoever comes here will be given sanctuary. Whether the Raja has exiled them, or whether the whole earth has exiled them. Guruji turns no one away. He came there, he was hungry. Maharaj gave him a place to stay overnight, and in the morning before he left, he's still the son of a king, he's a prince. Even if he's been exiled up until that point, he's lived a princely life. So Maharaj ne 5,000 rupees bhi ditta, so he can take that with him and make his way out of the Raj of his father. And so this is what he's saying now. He's saying, take the measures to stop the disrespect that's happened already so far. Don't let any more disrespect happen to your throne and to yourself. Jahangir, Tochit Samjay. When you punish Guru Arjan Dev Ji, then in his heart he will know Shahu Avagya Im Dukhdai, the pain of disrespecting the king of this land. There was one or two courtiers, ministers also present listening to the whole conversation. Now Chandu has got this system set up where he and the ministers want something done, they all scratch each other's back. They both agree, they all agree with each other. Remember, the king has a whole rule to rule over, to run. He can't be everywhere at all times. His ministers are his eyes and his ears. And to a great degree, his hands as well, because it's through them he gets everything done. Now, when these ministers want something done, they come together and they will say what they want to. Well, the king sometimes likes it or not. He'll agree with them and let them do whatever they want to. So they are present too also. They give each other money, they bribe each other, support each other. In this case, Chandu has probably met these ministers on the way in and said, look, you'll get rewarded well. Whatever I say, Meri Hana la deo. So these umarats, these ministers, they started speaking that this Chandu he's sumatha, his wisdom is praiseworthy. It's very deep. Hanji. Desh dukhi dekh dog likha hai. Look, he's watching the people. He's watching your country in pain, suffering, tormenting. Hanji. That is why he is saying again and again things about this Sikhada Peer Guru Arjan Dev Ji. Otherwise, what business has he got with Peer Mahatma sir? You, Jahangir, call him, summon him to be brought to your presence, sir. Don't you do anything, because it's not befitting for a king to be demanding 2 lakh rupiah. What? What is 2 lakh rupiah for Jahangir? Don't you, look how the buttering it all up. Don't you demand the 2 lakh rupiah. You call him here, Mat pucho khudai, ask for the rasta, the way to God. He's a fakir, do fakiri kind of chats. Diwan Chandu will correct the dand, the punishment of 2 lakh rupiah, and he'll carry out whatever needs to be carried out. No blame will come to you whatsoever. If that's what you're thinking, that if I call this fakir here and give him 2 lakh rupiah fine, what will people think of me? Nothing will come back to you. Nobody will think anything of you, because we will take care of it. Listen to his words about God and then see him off. You will not receive any blame, not even in your dreams. Nothing will come your way. Chandu ar amravan rukalak. When Badshah Jahangir sees the intentions of his ministers, look, he's not stupid, he's an emperor for heaven's sake. He knows there's something more sinister afoot, but he doesn't bother. His ministers are his hands there, his tools for his rule. He's going to side with his tools. So when he sees the intentions, he becomes Udevi Manvacha to meet Guru Arjan Dev Ji. Guru ki Sangati, not the cha that we have to meet. Tan Satguru Granth Sahib Ji has come to their Huzuri. Ede Manvach Ehe cha, he's got this cha. Like Das explained earlier, he's hating on Guru Ka. He's thinking that these ministers are against Guru Arjan Dev Ji. Why don't I call him and let them have his way? At least I'll get some degree of satisfaction for having done something to this Gurdi Dukan, this Dukan of falsehood that he calls Guru Ka. So he's thinking this. Darshan karo, I will take darshan of this. I'll actually get to see him for once with my eyes. I've heard much about him, I've never seen him. Hanji. Ucharan sun, I'll be able to listen to you as well. Of whom? Ninda Sifti. The one who there is great Ninda about and there's great Sifti about. Guru ki Sangat Ji, nobody in their mind should ever think that there is any Nindya of Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj. The whole of creation bows before Guru Arjan Dev Ji. After the Shaheedi, at the end, you will hear how all the beings from all the realms came, presented themselves and bowed before Guru Sahib Ji Maharaj. So no one does Nindya of Guru Sahib Ji. But the reason why the Shah is thinking there is Nindya of Guru Sahib Ji, because these ministers, they reflect the people in his Raj. And if they're saying that oh Dukhiya, Hidaya, Chorya, Flama, Jayat, then he's thinking Nindya holy and there is much slander of this Guru. But at the same time, he meets people like Wazir Khan, his number 1 confidant. He's number 1 servant. And Wazir Khan has always painted a very divine picture of Sifti the Pari picture of Tan Sadguru Arjan Dev Ji from Guru Nanak Dev Ji to Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj. He sees Wazir Khan walking into the Darbar. So Guru Ki Sangat Ji, he says to Wazir Khan, will you go and fetch Guru Arjan Dev Ji and ask him that we are waiting his darshan. He's a king, he's not going to summon Guru Arjan Dev Ji. Because one thing that these don't know, Piran din aal matha nahi laida. That's why he would rather let Chandu and the ministers do what they want to. He knows that this is the house that gave them the Raj over India. They can take it back to. So he's asking his Wazir Khan, not only his friend, his number one servant also, throughout all kingdoms, the number one servant is usually someone who's been a lifelong friend of the king. Why? Because that person understands the king, and only that person who understands you truly can also guide you truly and advise you truly. So he will send this Wazir Khan to go to Pai Sadhu ji's house where Guru Arjan Dev Sahib ji Maharaj is, and do Benti to Guru Arjan Dev Sahib ji Maharaj. Guru Ki Sangat ji, here we pause, Bisram, until next week. And Guru Maharaj Kirpa Karan, Daya Karan Satguru, जिस प्रकार आज सतगुरु ने कथा कराई, महाराज इस प्रकार इस तो वध कथा कराओ and keep us within the time that they have allocated for this katha. Whilst doing katha vichara, no doubt Das made untold mistakes. Sadhu Sangat Guru Ki Maharaj Survan hai, Bhulla Chukka di Khima Bakshni. And on that note, we will read Panch Podiya and the Slok Podiya of Sri Anand Sahib. The faith of our Smarti, I believe. Our Sab Mai Pai Gurfatit Sanj Pai get the seesaw of Sadguru Granthsahib Ji Maharaj. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Ram Kareem Allah